In a town where luxury was a way of life, two sisters, Emma and Lily, lived in a grand mansion on a sprawling estate. Their family, the Ashfords, was one of the wealthiest and most influential in the country. The sisters had everything they could ever need: fancy clothes, expensive jewelry, and even private tutors. But there was one thing they didn't have, and that was beauty. Emma and Lily were not as beautiful as their classmates, and in a town where appearances meant everything, this was a serious flaw. Even though they were wealthy, other kids still teased them, whispering cruel comments behind their backs. Their classmates, like Sarah Huntley, who came from a family just as wealthy, looked down on them. Sarah was the queen bee of the school, beautiful and admired by everyone. She saw Emma and Lily as easy targets, always laughing at their frizzy hair, and the fact that they couldn't compete with her beauty and charm. Every day, Emma and Lily felt the weight of these harsh words. They tried to ignore the whispers and the stares, but each cruel comment made them feel smaller and more isolated. No one seemed to care about their kind hearts or their talents. All that mattered was beauty, and it was the one thing they didn't have. One evening, after a particularly rough day, the sisters sat together in their dimly lit bedroom, staring out the large window that overlooked their beautiful estate. Emma's voice was a whisper as she said, "I wish we could be beautiful, Lily. I wish we could walk into a room and make people stare in awe." Lily nodded, her eyes filled with a longing she had never put into words before. "I'd do anything, Emma. Anything to make them stop laughing at us." As they sat in silence, a strange feeling filled the room. It was as if a cold breeze had slipped in through the window, even though it was closed. The shadows in the room seemed to deepen, and the air felt thick with something both terrifying and tempting. Then a soft, whispering voice filled their minds. "Do you truly wish for beauty?" it asked, the words echoing around them as though carried by an invisible wind. Emma and Lily froze, glancing around the dark room. They didn't see anyone, but the voice was clear, soft, and strangely comforting. Despite their fear, the voice seemed to pull them in, making them forget everything else. "Yes," Emma whispered, unable to stop herself. "We do." "Then come to me," the voice said. "I can give you beauty, beauty like no one has ever seen before. But remember, all beauty comes at a price." The words sent a shiver down their spines, but the promise was too powerful to ignore. That night, they left the safety of their mansion and followed the voice through the misty woods near their home, where they eventually found a clearing bathed in moonlight. In the center stood an ancient, cracked mirror, and as they approached, they saw their reflections flicker, becoming impossibly beautiful versions of themselves. The voice spoke again, this time coming from the mirror. "Touch the mirror, and all you desire will be yours. But know this: you will owe me a price you must pay every year to keep your beauty." Without hesitation, both sisters reached out, their fingers brushing against the cold, ancient glass. The moment they touched it, a tingling warmth rushed through them, and they felt their bodies transform. Their hair grew smooth and shiny, their skin flawless and glowing. They became beautiful beyond anything they could have imagined. From that day on, Emma and Lily became the talk of the town. Their beauty was so striking that people could hardly believe their eyes. They were admired, praised, and envied by everyone they met. With their newfound beauty, they decided to create their own makeup brand, Glimmer Glow, which promised to bring a hint of their own radiance to anyone who used it. People flocked to buy their products, desperate to capture even a fraction of the sisters' mesmerizing beauty. Year after year, Glimmer Glow grew, becoming the most popular beauty brand in the country. Every year, the Ashford sisters entered their products in the prestigious annual beauty competition, and every year they won effortlessly. No one else even came close to beating them, not even Sarah, whose own beauty brand was a distant second. But as the years passed, the price they paid began to weigh on them. Every year, they returned to the mirror in the woods to renew their beauty, chanting strange words and offering small sacrifices to the dark force that had granted them their wish. They never spoke of it to anyone, not even to each other, but both sisters knew that if they ever failed to complete the ritual, their beauty, and everything they had gained because of it, would vanish. The sisters' perfect, beautiful lives continued, But deep down, a darkness lingered, a secret they couldn't escape. Each time they looked in the mirror, they saw shadows of the plain girls they used to be, hidden behind layers of magic and beauty. And though the world saw only their perfect faces, they knew that the cost of their beauty was far from over. Their pact with the dark forces had brought them everything they wanted: admiration, success, and power. But in their hearts, Emma and Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching, waiting to collect its due. The annual beauty competition was the most glamorous event of the year. Wealthy families, famous models, and top beauty experts filled the grand hall, eager to see which brand would win the title of Best Beauty Line. As always, Emma and Lily's brand, Glimmer Glow, was the one to beat. For the last 10 years they had dominated the competition, their beauty products unmatched and adored by nearly everyone. This year was no different. As Emma and Lily entered the hall, heads turned, and a hush fell over the crowd. They wore stunning gowns, their flawless faces glowing as if they'd stepped straight out of a fairy tale. No one could take their eyes off them, and whispers of admiration and envy rippled through the room. Among the crowd stood Sarah, the sisters' old rival from school. Now an adult, Sarah had poured her family's fortune into her own beauty brand, Radiance by Sarah, determined to make her mark in the beauty industry. But no matter how hard she worked, no matter how innovative her products were, Radiance by Sarah always fell short of Glimmer Glow. Year after year, she watched the Ashford sisters take the crown, their beauty and success seemingly untouchable. Sarah's frustration had only grown over the years. She remembered the girls Emma and Lily used to be. Plain, shy, and easy to mock. How had they become so perfect, so captivating? How had they built a beauty empire that no one could match? Deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something unnatural about their success. As the competition began, Sarah forced herself to smile and clap politely, but her eyes never left Emma and Lily. Every time they won, they would look at her with a smirk, as if to remind her of the days when she was the queen of beauty, the one everyone admired. They seemed to delight in her failure, enjoying the irony of their newfound power over her. After yet another victory for Glimmer Glow, the sisters accepted their trophy with radiant smiles, exchanging triumphant glances as the crowd cheered. Sarah's hands clenched into fists, her knuckles white. She could feel the anger boiling inside her, and she knew she couldn't just sit back and watch anymore. Later that evening, as the crowd dispersed and the sisters basked in their victory, Sarah approached them with a forced smile. "Congratulations again, Emma Lily," she said, trying to keep her tone light. "It seems no one can beat you." Emma raised an eyebrow, her smile turning cold. "Thank you, Sarah. Maybe next year you'll come closer." "Though I wouldn't hold my breath," she replied, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Lily laughed softly, adding, "But don't feel too bad. Some people just aren't meant to be at the top." Their words hit Sarah like a slap. She fought to keep her composure, but inside she was seething. She had once been the one who mocked them, and now they were mocking her. But she wasn't about to let them win that easily. She had a plan. As she left the hall, Sarah made a decision. She was going to uncover the secret behind Emma and Lily's beauty. She refused to believe that they were naturally so stunning, that their beauty products were simply that much better. There had to be something more, something hidden, and she was determined to find it. In the following days, Sarah searched for someone she could trust, someone who could work closely with the Ashford sisters without raising suspicion. After much consideration, she hired a young makeup artist named Eunice. Eunice was talented, ambitious, and came from a wealthy family herself, which meant she wouldn't look out of place at Glimmer Glow. Sarah explained the mission to her carefully. Eunice was to work for Emma and Lily, gain their trust, and find out the secret behind their flawless products. "Don't worry," Sarah said, her voice low and determined. "I'll pay you well, Eunice. But you have to be smart. No one can know you're working for me. Get close to them, figure out their secret, and report back." Eunice, excited by the challenge and the promise of a hefty paycheck, agreed. She was curious about Glimmer Glow herself, having admired the brand's reputation and the beauty of its owners. The Ashford sisters were legends in the industry, and Eunice wondered what magic they had discovered to make their products so irresistible. A week later, Eunice started working at Glimmer Glow as a junior makeup artist. She was thrilled but nervous. The office was luxurious, with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and walls lined with sparkling mirrors. Everywhere she looked, she saw employees busily creating and testing products, each one excited to be part of the glamorous brand. Eunice kept her mission in mind, though. She couldn't let herself be distracted by the luxury and excitement. Her goal was to get close to Emma and Lily, to figure out what set Glimmer Glow apart from every other brand in the country. Days turned into weeks, and Eunice observed everything she could. She noticed that Emma and Lily were rarely seen in the office. When they did appear, it was only briefly, gliding through the halls with their perfect, unearthly beauty, barely acknowledging anyone. The employees were in awe of them, whispering about how glamorous and flawless they were, but no one seemed to know the secret behind their beauty. Eunice noticed something strange, though. Despite being a makeup brand, Glimmer Glow didn't have a lab or manufacturing room on site. The products were developed elsewhere, and all formulas were kept locked away. It was as if the sisters were guarding something precious, something no one else could access. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Eunice tried asking around, but her questions were met with shrugs and vague answers. No one in the company seemed to know the real ingredients of Glimmer Glow products. Everyone assumed the formulas were kept secret to protect the brand's reputation, but Eunice knew there had to be more to it. Then, one evening, as she stayed late at the office, Eunice noticed something odd. A door in the back of the building, one she had never seen anyone use, was slightly ajar. She felt a surge of curiosity and decided to take a closer look. Her heart pounded as she approached the door, hoping no one would see her. Peering inside, she saw a staircase leading down into darkness. It didn't make sense. Why would there be a hidden stairwell in a glamorous office like this? She glanced around, then decided to take a risk. She stepped inside and carefully began to descend, the dim light from her phone barely illuminating the steps. At the bottom of the stairs, she found a small, dimly lit hallway that led to a single door. Eunice's hand trembled as she reached for the handle, and she hesitated, wondering if she should turn back. But her curiosity was too strong, and with a deep breath she opened the door. Inside, the room was unlike anything she had ever seen. Strange symbols covered the walls, and in the center of the room stood an ancient mirror, cracked and covered in dust. Eunice's breath caught as she realized this was no ordinary place. She had stumbled upon something dark and secret, a place the Ashford sisters had gone to great lengths to hide. As she looked around, her mind raced. She didn't know what this room meant, but one thing was clear. Emma and Lily's beauty was no accident. She was getting closer to the truth, and she knew she had to find out more, no matter the cost. Eunice stood frozen in the dark room, the dim light from her phone casting eerie shadows across the strange symbols on the walls. Her mind raced with questions. What was this place, and what did it have to do with the Ashford sisters' beauty? She was about to take a closer look when she heard footsteps echoing down the stairs. Her heart raced. If she was caught here, there was no telling what Emma and Lily might do. Quickly, she turned off her phone and hid in a shadowy corner, holding her breath. The door creaked open, and in walked Emma and Lily, whispering in voices too low to understand. They moved to the center of the room, stopping in front of the cracked mirror that seemed almost alive, its surface rippling like water. Eunice watched, trying to remain perfectly still. She saw the sisters pull out small velvet pouches and pour a silvery powder onto their hands. Then they began chanting words she couldn't understand, their voices growing louder and more intense. The mirror seemed to respond, glowing faintly, and in its surface, Eunice saw distorted images flicker, faces of people, places, and strange, shadowy figures. As Emma and Lily continued their chant, their features seemed to sharpen, their skin growing more radiant, their eyes brighter. Eunice's breath caught. She realized this was no ordinary beauty routine. The Ashford sisters were using dark magic, drawing power from the mirror to keep their beauty flawless. When the chanting stopped, Emma and Lily looked into the mirror with satisfied smiles. Emma whispered, "Another year of beauty, power and success. No one will ever take this from us." Lily nodded, a smug smile crossing her face. "They'll never know our secret. Everyone thinks Glimmer Glow is just makeup, but we know the truth. We owe everything to this mirror, and the power it gives us." The sisters laughed softly, their voices filled with a cruel confidence that sent chills down Eunice's spine. They blew out the candles surrounding the mirror, and the room went dark. Eunice held her breath, waiting until she heard their footsteps fade before she dared to move. She had witnessed the dark truth behind the Ashford sisters' beauty, but now she had to find a way to get out without being caught. Carefully, she slipped out of her hiding spot and made her way back up the stairs, her heart pounding with every step. As she reached the door leading to the main office, she felt a rush of relief, until she saw Lily standing in her path, her face twisted into a look of cold fury. "Were you spying on us?" Lily's voice was icy, her eyes narrowing as she stepped closer. Emma joined her, blocking Eunice's escape. "Did you really think you could sneak around and uncover our secret?" Eunice's throat went dry, and she struggled to find her voice. I didn't mean to. I just got lost," she stammered, hoping they would believe her. Emma's laugh was sharp and mocking. "Save your lies, Eunice. We know why you're here." She stepped forward, her expression darkening. "You were sent by Sarah, weren't you? She couldn't handle losing, so she sent you to dig up dirt on us." Eunice felt a surge of panic. "Please. I didn't know." But the sisters weren't listening. Emma and Lily exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between them. "No one can know our secret," Emma said coldly. "And you, Eunice, have just seen too much." Before Eunice could react, Lily grabbed her arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "We have something special planned for you," she whispered, her voice dripping with menace. "We've been needing a sacrifice for our next ritual. Looks like you just volunteered." Eunice's heart raced as she struggled against Lily's grasp, but it was no use. The sisters led her back down the stairs and into the dark room with the cracked mirror. Her mind was racing, desperately searching for a way to escape, but fear paralyzed her. She had never imagined she'd end up trapped, about to become a part of the sisters' dark magic. They forced her to stand in front of the mirror, binding her hands with a thick, silken rope. Emma began arranging candles around her, whispering words under her breath. Lily stood close by, watching Eunice with a twisted smile. "It's almost poetic, isn't it?" Lily murmured. "You came here to uncover our secret, and now you'll become a part of it." Eunice felt tears prick her eyes, but she fought to keep her composure. "Please, you don't have to do this," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You already have everything: beauty, success. Why do you need more?" Emma's eyes hardened. "You don't understand. Our beauty and success come at a cost. We can't stop now, not when we're at the top. Without these rituals, everything we've built would disappear. We'd be nothing." Lily nodded, her voice soft but deadly. "You're just a small price to pay for another year of perfection. Don't worry, Eunice. It'll be over soon." The sisters began their chant again, the dark words filling the room as the candles flickered and shadows danced along the walls. Eunice's heart pounded in terror as the mirror's surface started to shimmer, reflecting her terrified face alongside the distorted images of the sisters. Just as Eunice felt the magic start to swirl around her, she remembered Sarah. Sarah would realize something was wrong when Eunice didn't report back. She clung to that tiny spark of hope, praying that somehow Sarah would figure out what had happened and come to her rescue. The sisters' chant grew louder, the power in the room intensifying. The mirror seemed to pulse with an eerie light, drawing Eunice closer. She felt a cold sensation washing over her, like her very essence was being pulled toward the mirror. She struggled, but her strength was fading fast. She was losing herself, becoming part of the dark magic that fueled Emma and Lily's beauty. In a final desperate act, Eunice screamed, hoping someone, anyone, would hear her. Her voice echoed through the empty halls above, but there was no answer. She was trapped, helpless against the Ashford sisters' dark ritual. Just as her vision began to blur, Eunice thought of her family, her friends, and the life she had hoped to live. She silently vowed that if she ever got out of this, she would expose Emma and Lily, revealing their twisted secret to the world. But as the darkness closed in, she wondered if that moment would ever come. Sarah hadn't heard from Eunice in days, and was worried. Eunice had been so eager to uncover the truth, so determined to impress her. And now, complete silence. Sarah began to wonder if something had happened, but she couldn't shake the thought that Eunice's disappearance was connected to whatever secret Emma and Lily were hiding. The sisters had been unbeatable for years, and Sarah was certain it wasn't by talent or luck alone. Determined to find out what had happened, Sarah went to Glimmer Glow under the guise of a casual visit. She approached the front desk with a charming smile, asking if she could speak with the Ashford sisters about a business proposition. But after an hour of being politely stalled by receptionists and employees, she realized that they weren't going to let her anywhere near Emma and Lily. Frustrated, Sarah wandered around the main floor of the building, pretending to admire the displays of Glimmer Glow products. She noticed the door Eunice had mentioned in one of her last messages, the hidden door at the back of the building. It looked as ordinary as any other door, tucked away in a corner with a small employees-only sign. As the hallways cleared for the evening, Sarah's pulse quickened. She slipped down the hallway and opened the door. Behind it was a narrow, dimly lit stairwell leading down into darkness. Her mind raced with questions, but she pushed aside her fear and descended the stairs, careful to keep her footsteps silent. At the bottom, she found herself in a dim hallway that ended at a single heavy door. Taking a deep breath, she pushed it open and entered the room. The sight that met her eyes was like something out of a nightmare. Strange symbols covered the walls, and in the middle of the room stood an ancient, cracked mirror, surrounded by candles that cast a dim, flickering glow. But it was what lay in front of the mirror that stopped Sarah's heart. Eunice was there, bound and gagged, her eyes wide with fear. She looked exhausted, as if she'd been struggling to stay awake, her skin pale and drained. Sarah's heart raced as she realized just how deep she had gotten herself, and Eunice, into something far darker than she had ever imagined. As she moved to untie Eunice, she heard footsteps approaching. She quickly hid behind a tall cabinet, holding her breath as Emma and Lily entered the room. The sisters looked as flawless as ever, their beauty practically glowing in the candlelight. They ignored Eunice's muffled protests and focused on the mirror, speaking in low, ritualistic tones. Sarah watched, horrified, as the sisters began their chant. The strange language filled the room, and the mirror's surface started to shimmer with an unnatural light. Images flickered across its surface, showing Emma and Lily in their true forms. Plain, tired faces, with deep shadows under their eyes and lines on their skin. For a brief moment, the illusion of their beauty faded, revealing the toll their pact had taken on them over the years. The sisters continued chanting, their voices growing louder, and Sarah realized with horror what they were about to do. They intended to use Eunice as a sacrifice to renew their beauty for another year. Sarah knew she had to act fast if she was going to save her. As the ritual intensified, Sarah spotted a small, heavy object on the table beside her, a stone paperweight. Without thinking, she grabbed it, creeping toward the sisters as they continued their chant, their focus entirely on the mirror. Just as the chanting reached a fever pitch, Sarah threw the paperweight with all her might, shattering one of the mirror's cracked edges. The mirror's glow flickered, and the sisters stumbled back, startled. Emma and Lily turned, fury blazing in their eyes as they spotted Sarah. "What are you doing here?" Emma spat, her face contorting with anger. Sarah held her ground, her voice steady. "I know your secret, Emma. I know everything. And I'm going to expose you for what you are." Lily's face twisted with rage, and she took a step toward Sarah. "You don't know what you're dealing with. This mirror is our source of power, our beauty. Without it, we'd be nothing." Sarah sneered. "So all your beauty, your success, it's all a lie. You've been using dark magic to cheat your way to the top." Emma's gaze hardened. "You don't understand. We had no choice. We were nothing, nobody cared about us until we made this pact. You think you're better than us, but you've always looked down on us, just like everyone else. For a moment, a flicker of regret crossed Sarah's face, but she pushed it aside. That doesn't justify what you've done. You've sacrificed everything, your own humanity, just for beauty and power. Emma raised her hand, preparing to finish the ritual, but Sarah lunged forward, knocking over the table and sending the candles scattering. The room plunged into darkness, the only light coming from the mirror, which continued to glow with a strange, pulsing energy. In the confusion, Sarah managed to untie Eunice's hands, helping her to her feet. "Come on, we have to get out of here," she whispered urgently. But before they could make it to the door, the sisters blocked their path. Emma's face was twisted with rage, her voice a hiss. "You think you can just walk away? After everything we've done, we won't let you ruin us." The sisters raised their hands, and Sarah felt a chill sweep through the room, a powerful force radiating from the mirror. But just as the sisters prepared to attack, Eunice grabbed one of the fallen candles and hurled it at the mirror with all her strength. The mirror shattered with a deafening crash, and a dark, shadowy mist began to pour out from its broken surface. The sisters screamed, clutching at their faces as their beauty began to fade, their skin growing pale and wrinkled, their hair turning dull and lifeless. The mist swirled around Emma and Lily, their bodies seeming to wither as the dark force they had depended on for so long was finally released. They stumbled, reaching out in desperation, but it was too late. The magic that had given them beauty for so many years now consumed them, pulling them into the broken mirror as they screamed in horror. Within moments, the room fell silent. The mirror lay in shards on the floor, and the sisters were gone. Eunice and Sarah stood in stunned silence, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. Eunice was trembling, but Sarah placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's over," Sarah whispered. "They're gone." Eunice nodded, her face pale but relieved. "Thank you. I thought I'd never get out." They helped each other up the stairs, leaving the shattered remains of the mirror and the dark ritual room behind. The morning after Emma and Lily's disappearance, news of their sudden absence sent shockwaves through the beauty industry. Glimmer Glow employees were stunned. The Ashford sisters had always been the face of the brand, untouchable and adored by everyone. Rumors swirled, but no one knew the real story. No one except Sarah and Eunice. Back in her office, Sarah began piecing together everything she and Eunice had uncovered. She knew it was time to reveal the truth, not only for Eunice's sake but to bring an end to the sisters' legacy of lies and dark magic. She contacted a well-known journalist and shared the entire story, leaving out no details about the Ashford sisters' dark secret, the mirror, and the horrifying pact they had made. The story spread like wildfire. Within hours, the once revered image of Glimmer Glow crumbled as the media exposed the truth behind Emma and Lily's beauty. Customers were horrified, employees were shocked, and the public quickly turned against the brand they had once idolized. The Ashford family, humiliated and disgraced, publicly announced that Glimmer Glow would be shut down immediately. Sarah and Eunice watched as everything the sisters had built through deception and magic was dismantled. Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. The Ashford sisters had wielded their power cruelly, first using dark magic to gain beauty and then treating everyone else as beneath them. Now their empire lay in ruins. But Sarah wasn't done. She made sure to emphasize in every interview that Eunice had been brave enough to risk her life to uncover the truth. Eunice's bravery didn't go unnoticed, and offers for makeup artistry and creative projects poured in from prestigious beauty brands around the country. Eunice, once a simple makeup artist with big dreams, now had a promising future, and Sarah was determined to support her every step of the way. A month after the scandal broke, Sarah and Eunice met in a quiet cafe. They had been through so much together, and now that the dust had settled, they could finally relax. Sarah looked at Eunice with a grateful smile. "You were amazing, Eunice. None of this would have happened if it weren't for your courage." Eunice blushed, but her eyes sparkled with newfound confidence. "Thank you, Sarah. I couldn't have done it without you believing in me." They sipped their tea in comfortable silence, reflecting on the events that had led them here. They had both learned something valuable. Real beauty came from within, not from magic or superficial charms. The Ashford sisters had paid the ultimate price for their obsession with perfection, and it was a lesson neither Sarah nor Eunice would ever forget. In the weeks that followed, Sarah poured her energy into her own brand, Radiance by Sarah, which quickly rose in popularity. With the fall of Glimmer Glow, Sarah's brand gained a new reputation as one that valued authenticity and integrity, and customers flocked to it, eager to support a company they could trust. For Sarah, it was a new beginning, a chance to build something genuine without shortcuts or secrets. Eunice became a creative director for Radiance by Sarah, and together, they worked to build a brand that focused on inner beauty as much as outer glamour. Their message was simple: beauty is about confidence, kindness, and self-acceptance, not perfection. As for the Ashford sisters, they were never seen again. Some said they had vanished completely, lost forever in the dark magic they had once harnessed. Others believed their spirits were trapped in the remnants of the broken mirror, a warning to anyone who sought power through deception and darkness. Sarah and Eunice didn't dwell on these rumors. They had emerged from the shadows of the sisters' dark legacy, ready to face the future with clear hearts and open minds. Their experiences had taught them to value truth, friendship, and self-worth above all else. And as they watched their brand grow, they knew that they had built something real, something that would endure long after the memory of the Ashford sisters had faded into legend. In the end, Sarah and Eunice proved that true beauty could never be stolen, bought, or forced. It was something that grew naturally, shining brightest in those who dared to be themselves. And as their success story spread, it became a symbol of hope for everyone who had ever doubted their own worth. For Sarah and Eunice, the future was brighter than ever, and they were ready to embrace it together. Did you enjoy this story? Let me know in the comments. I'm especially thankful to you for watching and commenting on my videos. You make me happy. Till we meet again, lovelies. I've created a full video of this story. You can click the link to the video.